What's good, y'all? It's Pod.cannion back with another reaction video. This is Voidzilla, Coffeezilla, pretty much. Um, if y'all have heard of the files being released to a certain degree, that has happened, and rightfully so. If you know what are in some of these files, it only makes sense that some people are getting questioned on a congressional level, right? So, Pam Bondi is one of the first up to bat, and it's absolutely like crazy. Like it's actually crazy the amount of well, this is what they've always done, like the right side. So it's like I'm not gonna explain it. CoffeeZilla will explain it much better than I can, and you'll hear my thoughts later. But if y'all like the video, like it, subscribe if you're new, because all we do is chill over here. I don't know if this is gonna go up on the Pod.cannion channel because I am narrowing my niches way more. So like depending on what type of video I'm doing, it will depend on what type of channel that ends up on. You feel me? All right. With that being said, let's get into this video either way. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad y'all are here. This is for, you know what I'm saying? Just expanding our, you know what I'm saying, the way that we see things. Because if if we were a lot more unified, we would not get to this point. Sadly, we are at this point, so we must actively combat this so it doesn't get any worse than it already is, aka midterms.
Really disgusted by the way this is all a big joke to liars like Howard Lutnick, who deceived the American public about the status of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
That guy was there. I wasn't going.
Now he testifies under oath that he actually went to the island of the creep and brought his kids.
We had lunch on the island.
Gross.
That is true. For an hour, and we left with all of my children.
Nevertheless, every time Epstein is brought up, this guy can't stop chuckling. Here's Lutnick laughing again when Trump is addressing a question about Epstein.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I could ask you that question.
He thinks it's the funniest thing he's ever heard. And maybe it's because they really think we are buying it. Maybe it's because they think, hey, we're just going to get away with this. We can just keep, it's so, the lies are so brazen. So audacious, so in your face that it is actually funny to them. And you know what? I have to agree that the way the FBI and DOJ have been treating this is a joke. Because we just talked to a congressman who passed the Epstein Transparency Act. As part of it, the DOJ was supposed to release all the Epstein files with no redactions except for survivors. That didn't happen. Several of the survivors' names were left unredacted, and several...
The most in, like, U.S. history, like, the way that they... It's almost like it was on purpose, the way that they left a lot of these survivors' names unredacted, but still some of the abusers were redacted. Very weird behavior.
The perpetrators' names were left redacted.
Is an email
Thank you, that's
sent
what I said.
by the victims' lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released
the names.
this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did.
And then most of their excuse for taking so long was, hey, we're trying to protect the survivors. And then when you already released this behind the schedule that you're supposed to have released these files, when you don't even release all of them, the one thing that you said you were taking so long to release the files for, you don't do. You completely, and that is a date, like, I shouldn't have to explain why, like, unredacting victims' names is a issue and a problem. Hopefully I don't, but yeah.
This one is child trafficking, co-conspirators,
Crazy.
fully redacted.
But in response to criticism that they had over-redacted, they said, hey, we're so transparent, we're going to let you guys come and see the unredacted files to the congressman. The problem is, guess what happened when those congressmen showed up?
Oh, no.
The unredacted files, many of them, were redacted underneath the redaction. There were 2 layers of redactions. By the time the DOJ got them, they were already redacted. So what they're looking at is an unredacted, redacted copy of the Epstein files. This is at the same time that the FBI has a government project to build a next-generation redaction tool where they claim they need multi-layer redaction management. And you can see it here where a representative talks about getting to see the, quote, unredacted files. He says the search function didn't actually work. Half the stuff I was looking for was still redacted. We couldn't write on files. we brought in. We shared 4 computers for 435 members of Congress.
Shit.
So what is this actually? This is transparency theater. This is not real transparency. It is actually a joke. Here's another joke. The FBI just concluded again that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't running a ring for powerful men. But when the public was asked about this just the other day, 94% believe that he was. So obviously there's a huge...
There's no way you actually use your eyes, read the files, and come to that conclusion. The thing that is happening, that if you haven't got it by now, they are actively lying to your face because, you know, they think you're stupid. You know what I'm saying? They don't think you're actually going to do the due diligence to read those things for yourself. So they just tell you what they want you to believe that's in it. And the thing that actually happens is people will listen to these powerful people in Congress saying, oh no, there's nothing to see here. And they will literally parrot off what they're saying without doing any research themselves. And it doesn't help the people at all. It only helps the powerful people who are they are PDF files. Like they are actual predators and like disgusting people. And the fact, like, you're not helping yourself at all by lying for these people. So it's like, for like literally you being uneducated, you talking about shit that you ain't actually do the research or like the due diligence about, that actually is a part of the problem. You are actually helping the problem when you just spew off things you ain't actually researched yourself. That is the key thing. So these people, you know what I'm saying, they might not even try to release the rest of the files, but the thing of the matter is they're going to keep on saying what they want you to believe, not what is actually there, because they don't think that y'all are smart enough to actually do the research yourself. That's just the fact of the matter. Like, that is just how the government is right now.
Between what the FBI says they believe and what the public, who has now at this point seen most of the same files, say they believe. If anything, the FBI, by definition, would have access to more evidence. And yet, with the files that we already do have, 94% of the public say, yeah, Epstein obviously was trafficking. But the FBI, of course, isn't investigating new parties. They say there's no evidence for it.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked.
Cash Patel. What a waste of a human being.
To other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay, even if you believe what he says, after the revelation that the FBI themselves thought there were 4 co-conspirators in the previous draft indictment, they later said they thought they had 10 co-conspirators. Now you're supposed to believe, nope, no women were trafficked to any of these people. Epstein was working alone. It might be surprising to learn then that the DOJ and FBI under Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, who ran on the idea of releasing these files, have not talked to people who say they were victimized by Jeffrey Epstein. This was brought out 2 different times. I want to watch both of them with you because it's astonishing to hear.
I think I know what he's talking about. The video where like there were actual victims in the courtroom and Pam Bondi refused to even acknowledge them. That could be something completely different. Let's see.
We have no credible evidence on other perpetrators, only to learn you never talked to the women who were allegedly trafficked.
At the age of 14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to...
And that's the thing. They can never answer a question straight off. When they just start going off of like they're reading a script, they're clearly lying and they're clearly playing the game. Like, when they can't answer a yes or no question and they start yapping, immediately just dismiss what they're saying because they're fucking lying to you.
Yes or no to whether or not you met with these women who were abused and
any insinuation by you or any people on your side that I am not
like, that's what I'm saying.
manhunting
What a waste of a human being Cash Patel is. Like, you were talking like this, that, and the third. How much you knew the files existed, and then when you get in this piece of power, maybe you're compromised. Not maybe, you're definitely compromised. But like, maybe they just have this information over you that makes you act like this. But the fact that, like, oh my gosh, like, I can't find the right words to say that just don't completely disrespect your existence, because it's like you are like, what a joke, what a actual.
answer yes or no to whether or not you met with these women who were abused and
any insinuation by you or any people on your side that I am not manhunting child traffickers.
You're not. You're protecting them.
Look at the stats. And you talk about cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
you talk about cover-ups.
I'm going to stop it there.
Yeah.
It just devolved. He refuses to answer the question of, did you actually meet with these women? Luckily for us, some of those same people later showed up at another hearing, this time in a hearing with Pam Bondi.
Yep.
survivors in the room. If you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
Oh my goodness.
Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
Wow.
Yeah, it's honestly shocking to see. There's these people who are claiming to be victims of Epstein. The DOJ and FBI have consistently said, look, we want to take all available evidence. We just need the evidence.
And we have continuously and publicly asked for the public to come forward with more information. If there is, we'll look at it.
And
then they'll ignore it.
It's like, well, did you interview these people who say they have evidence? Well,
wow.
No, actually, we didn't.
Wow.
This comes up again.
Now, would the survivors and victims who are here please stand up one more time?
I've worked with artists like Mary J. Blige, the Notorious B.I.G., Aretha Franklin, Sting.
Cool.
Just by show of hands, how many of you or your loved ones actually have met with the Department of Justice and provided testimony and estimate and evidence? None. And of those of you who have not met, which is everyone, how many of you have reached out either individually or through a lawyer or representative to offer to provide testimony and evidence?
Everybody.
All of them.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what can you even say to
Crazy
that?
work.
This is a DOJ.
Yeah.
This is an FBI that claims to be interested in getting to the bottom of the Epstein files, except when actually asked, they cover up, they redact, and they don't ask for victim testimony or evidence. I mean, how can you possibly say you've reached a conclusion as to an investigation when you literally haven't talked to the people who would be a victim of said investigation? Furthermore,
Because they've been lying from the beginning. Continue.
how can Cash Patel say under oath with
What a subhuman being. Like, I'm
perjuring himself that there was no credible evidence that Epstein trafficked to anyone else, when internal emails to 710 directors call, it says approximately 4 to 5 victims accused other adult men of abusing them. There was not enough evidence to federally charge these individuals, so the cases were referred to local law enforcement. Again, there's a huge difference between there's no credible evidence.
There is no credible information. None.
And we couldn't pull charges. I mean, that's a totally different thing. Yeah. And in that case, isn't the whole point to investigate that? Isn't the whole point to call more of the people saying they have evidence? Isn't that your job? How can the FBI, the DOJ, conclude definitively that Epstein wasn't trafficking to anyone when Jess Staley, during a UK court hearing in 2025, admitted to having with a member of Epstein's staff? He, of course, described it as consensual. But internally within the Epstein files, there's accusations against Jess Staley. One of the files alleges that a victim was left with body marks after an interaction with the former Barclays boss. The disgusting Mr. Staley, if anyone ever calls me Tinkerbell again, I will lose my mind. which I know sounds weird that Jess Staley would allegedly refer to a girl as some type of like Disney character or cartoon character, but this is consistent with email exchanges. Jess Staley says, "That was fun," to Jeffrey Epstein. "Say hi to Snow White. What character would you like next?" Epstein later asks, to which Staley replied, "Beauty and the Beast." Epstein responded, "Well, one side is available." Now again, I'm not saying these emails would be enough to charge Jess Staley, but to investigate, almost certainly. It's definitely unconscionable to say there's zero evidence of Epstein trafficking to anyone.
There is no credible information.
Is confirmed. Like,
none.
How can that possibly be true when some of your files say 4 or 5 victims accused other men? So it's just totally insane to me the way we are all treating this, where the people in power whose job it is to hold these people accountable, they want to laugh about it, they want to joke, they want you to smile about the whole thing. This actually came to a head when one reporter asked about the survivors.
But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get on to something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about.
Gotten justice.
The worst reporter. You know, she's a young woman.
Now remember, when Trump says that's the worst reporter, you are doing amazing journalism. The fuck is wrong with this lady? Driving like retarded. Anyways.
I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile.
See how he's trying to change the subject? Like, this is what they do.
Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, Mr. President.
Because you know you're not telling the truth.
It's honestly baffling. I mean, how are we supposed to act during the Epstein files when we hear about these horrific stories? Are we all supposed to be like Howard Lutnick, just guffawing, laughing it up? How are we supposed to treat this travesty of justice? And again, I want to restate for the millionth time, this is not political, no matter how much the DOJ and FBI try to argue that it is.
They really try to make it political, but this is a humanity thing, and I feel like when people stop looking at it as political, because the main people who was talking about the Pizzagate theories and the motherfucking child rings were the right side, the Trump side, and then when y'all are actually right on this, y'all don't want to stand on it because it's like that. There is no other way you can tell me you are in a cult than when you have this old theory, and then when it turns out the theory is on your side, you have an excuse for it. That is cognitive dissonance at its finest.
The person we're about to watch questioning Pam Bondi is a Republican. But anytime you say anything negative about the Epstein file handling, which was run on by this administration, they either bounce to, well, you must hate Trump, or the Democrats didn't do it last time, so we shouldn't be expected to do anything either. And you're about to see more of that.
Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
Look at you.
One redaction out of
he's
over
listed as a co-conspirator.
And we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome.
Literally, we caught you guys redacting a...
And this is shit they be saying in like the right-wing space. But for you to be an actual like attorney general and talk about like shit that you be like spewing to your cult and think it's gonna hold in court, like, oh my gosh.
Conspirator's name. I mean, there's a lot more than that they redacted, but it's like for them to say, oh, what? Oh, it was just one name. We put it up when you said so. When you caught us on our 4 computers we allowed you to use with redactions on top of redactions. And Pam Bondi's performance here was so bad that at one point she's being asked about, you know, like, are you bringing any more indictments?
Oh, she is very stupid.
Investigating anyone, and she jumps back to some pretty bizarre talking points.
How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the question the way I asked it.
And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over $50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have
Like, oh my fucking gosh, bro. Like, the amount of ignorance.
to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
No, I do want to know, what does the Dow have to do with Jeffrey Epstein victims? I truly don't understand that. So yeah, this whole thing was a complete disaster of a meltdown. They're treating it as an absolute joke, and they criticize you if you don't smile, like Howard Lutnick when he's caught lying about the Epstein files. And while I can't personally muster that kind of energy, I do want to talk about some more of the revelations in the Epstein file. Like, the most noteworthy is that Trump called the Palm Beach Police Department immediately after Epstein was arrested, according to a police chief that was interviewed in 2019. He says back when he arrested Epstein the first time, Trump called him and said, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this." Saying about Maxwell, she's evil, and to focus on her, according to the police chief, Trump was one of the first people to call. Julie K. Brown said that when Trump called the chief, it was after.
And I believe this is when Israel got to him. I'm just being honest here. Like Trump won't always he was always a crazy racist PDF file, but he wasn't always compromised by Israel. Well, actually, let me think here. I'm getting my whole timeline wrong because Epstein died in 2019. So yeah, he was already corrupt at this time. So I don't even know what Trump was thinking, telling on himself when he's already compromised and some more shit.
Epstein's story became public when Epstein was arrested. This actually goes a long way to explain Speaker Mike Johnson's previous comments that Trump blew the whistle to the FBI to stop Epstein.
Who's an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down?
Sure,
it's
Mike
obvious
Johnson.
that he probably just misunderstood that it was an FBI interview of a police chief, and that at the time it was the Palm Beach Police Department handling that case. And I think that even for the people who say, okay, that's just because they had a falling out over real estate or anything like that, I think it undoubtedly is a good look for Donald Trump, and clearly something they're going to hang on to as more of these files get released. We also have something that kind of goes the other way. Remember the Wall Street Journal birthday book story, which Trump said is absolutely false and he's suing over? We have a B-Day book update sent in 2002 when the book was supposedly drafted, and we see LM for blank, George Mitchell, Donald Trump, Henry Jarecki, and Leon Black, which definitely undermines his defamation case against the Wall Street Journal. I think another interesting component of this was realizing that Jeffrey Epstein was secretly buying motion-detected hidden cameras that record, and one of the people who said they were installing them said they were installing them into Kleenex boxes. There's another email from Jeffrey Epstein where he claims to need a button camera for the Sultan. Once again, highlighting that this case about Jeffrey Epstein is also a bizarre case of power. Who did this guy work for? Right. He talks about going to an SCIF, which might be an acronym for a sensitive compartmented information facility. Later, he says that Ehud Barak is with me. You would have loved my tech meeting in the SCIF. This is an intelligence term, which is usually something you need the ability to receive classified information for, although it's not clear because later Epstein says that his house is similar to an SCIF. So the connection to the government is not exactly bulletproof. I don't want to give the false impression that it was, but it does raise a bunch of questions. Like Bradley Edwards, one of the victim's lawyers, actually speaks about this in his book. He said that this bodyguard had been sent by Epstein to Virginia to CIA headquarters. Nervously telling me the story, the bodyguard said, "I don't know why I was there, but he told me they would take care of me. I attended a class for a week. At the beginning of the class, everyone had to introduce themselves. There were 45 people. 44 were in the CIA or some other government unit with top secret clearance. I was the only private citizen." So clearly there's some indication, some testimony to the fact that Epstein may have had access to either classified briefings or he had some pool with the CIA. Now, we might know about this because there was actually a FOIA to the CIA about Jeffrey Epstein. Ironically, it was from Jeffrey Epstein. This is Jason Leopold saying the Epstein filed FOIA request with the CIA in which he sought documents that would show that he had a, quote, open affiliation with the CIA between 1999 and 2011, and NSA for documents relating or referring to himself, Epstein did not receive any records. Instead, he got GLOMARS. That just refers to a term that basically they neither confirmed or denied it because they said that doing so would reveal, quote, a classified connection to the CIA, and thus the CIA cannot confirm or deny the existence of records responsive to your request. Therefore, you may consider this portion a denial of your request pursuant to FOIA exemptions. More specifically, they say, we searched the CIA originated responsive records that might reflect an open or otherwise acknowledged agent's...
I just realized I'm going to be like a box within a box, probably cutting off CoffeeZilla. My bad, fam. Gosh, dang it. I need to change this box because my OBS be having the box in the corner. But I need to change it so I can just have my POV be anywhere, so it doesn't mess with the video. But nah, this junk got me locked in, and we almost done. So
affiliation. So these are also the important questions we need answers to, but it's hard to get them when everything is treated as a joke, when nobody takes this seriously. So yeah, all in all,
they're not taking us as the people seriously, and that's one of the main things we gotta like actually zero in on. If we want to see actual change, like I think I seen a comment in here, like the French cut off heads for worse, for less. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna just end it right there. I'm gonna just leave it right there. So this might not be on the Pod.cannion channel. There might be like another channel I do on the daily where I just at least for like one day just talk about current events and shit like that. Because I feel like it's important to, even if like the channel doesn't blow up, have like a backlog of the crazy stuff that be happening. Because when you realize stuff in this current generation, you realize a lot of stuff is just a repeat in a way, or a revision. So when we see the stuff happening in real time, when we look back at history, we start to catch on to the pattern. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's I'm gonna keep this quick because we got a lot more videos. I'm kind of behind schedule, if I'm being honest with these videos, but you already know I'm locked in with y'all. If y'all like the video, like it. Subscribe if you're new. All we do is chill over here. With that being said, be great, be safe, keep getting to that bag,